everybody, I'm Joey Evans, and today we are taking a look at a roll and write, and it is a little bit heavier of a roll and write. It is Roll for Great Old Ones. I was really excited when I saw this come out because it promised to be a bit of a longer roll and write at 60 and 90 minutes, something that had a lot of meat to it, and I love Hadrian's Wall. I even love Twilight Inscription. So this promised me to give me that same kind of feel, that heavy feel, but also it gave it to me in co-op. What? Co-op and a roll and write with this much meat? I don't know, it's crazy. Will it work? Well, first of all, before we see if it works, let's see quickly how it's played. Okay, we are set up right now for Roll for Great Old Ones, a roll and write game. All right, so pretty much this is going to be scenario one here, and I'm going to go, this is going to be a quick overview just to kind of show you the flow of the game. Not going to go into a lot of the details. There's a lot going on. This is a bigger roll and write, think kind of Hadrian's Wall style, the cascading stuff. But I'm going to go a little bit about how to play this. First off, you're going to have a pool of dice. You're going to roll them, and here we go. And every investigator here is going to go ahead and choose one of the D6s. And the remainders, once everybody takes one, the remainders are going to be given over here to the ritual. Now this is scenario one right here. So there's different scenarios that are included in the game, but this is scenario one. I'm not going to go too much into detail about it. It does tell a story as you go through it, but this is a cooperative game that you're all working together. Now before we get into this, it's like I said, a dice pool here. The goals of the game are going to change depending on which scenario. This one, you are just trying to get them to not complete the ritual, and one investigator has to survive. So the rules pretty much are the ritual cannot be completed, and each investigator must close his own dark seal, and you have to have at least one person survive. So how do you do that? Well, pretty much, like I said, a pool of die are rolled, and if there's one more player, there's going to be another D6. At the end, you're going to end with these. So there's a nice little sequence of the round. First off, you have advanced ritual by ritual level. It's nice we can kind of cross that off. What that means is you're going to go up this ritual progress track. Once you get to the end, you lose. Right here, you've got 1, 2, or 3. You're going to go up by 2, just like this, if there's 2 players. And that's going to go up and down depending on how far you get, and different other things could have the ritual track go up as well and go quicker. All right, so then you're going to roll a die, create the dice pool, and then you're going to hand those out. There are also abilities that you can get to re-roll the different dice as well. But you're going to do that, so roll all dice, create the dice pool, and then you're going to choose the investigator dice and perform the actions. So the investigator dice is right here, and that is 4. So first off, let's take a look over here at every player board. Every player has different abilities. They're asymmetric here, but pretty much what's going to happen is health is here. You're going to start off with 4 health. You'll notice these are circled. If you get more health, you're going to circle those, and as you lose health, you cross them off. All right, so you can keep getting more health. These are your experience here, and these are your weaknesses. You might get those, and each of these weaknesses, once you cross them off, they're going to give you a different type of weakness. Like, for instance, this was advance a ritual by 2 for each cultist you defeat. All right, so let's go through real quick this 4. So a 4 means you're going to place the number 4 somewhere down here. You get to take 2 different actions. Let's go through what these are. Here, these numbers from left to right have to go down. Notice the down arrow. These have to go up. These can be 1, 3, and 5s, and these can be 2, 4s, and 6s. And both numbers have to be equal. And all these numbers have to be unequal. All right, so you could put the 4 wherever you want to. So we're going to do it here because it's here in the middle. So I could probably put a 4 right here. Now, if I do that, you'll notice there's a plus. Every time you go at a plus, that means you get another action. So if I did put a 4 here, and that's kind of a free number, I could go ahead and drop a 6 over here. Actually, I would drop a 6 right here, just like that. Now I went over a star. What does a star mean? A star means I get an experience. So I go right here, mark that off, and that's going to take me up the experience track, getting more pluses, which are going to be more actions that I'm going to get. So you keep going through. Now each of these, as you finish a segment, it's going to tell you that you get something. For example, this one, you gain instantly 2 hearts if you fill out one of these sections, as you are going left to right on these. This one, any one investigator gains a heart, you gain 2 stars. All these give different abilities here. These have you roll die, and you can get magnifying glasses, which we'll go to in a moment, and then you can also lose a heart. These right here are going to get cultists to show up, but which I will show you over here on the other board when we go. So what's going to happen here is you're going to keep advancing on these tracks. Now, Taking the rerolls are up here. Rerolls kind of do punish you. So rerolls, for example, here, if you did decide to take a reroll, you mark that off. It's got an insanity. You're going to take an insanity, mark off your first insanity, and notice there's a symbol there. And because of that, you're going to get a skill. So you choose one of these skills you can do. For example, here you can gain 2 hearts, or any one investigator can. Copy an even die, so the different skills through here. All right, so we've got the rerolls, insanity, and all of these, and the weaknesses experience. Now, collected clues. This is how you close the gate. Notice these magnifying glasses are given through here, and they're also given here in the search for clues. As you fill this out, you can roll the die and hopefully get 1 or 2 clues. They're also going to show up here. As you get clues, you're going to mark these off. And those, of course, will give you the action that you do mark off in that. And this is going to be normal. Once you get here, you're going to close your dark seal. This is hard, and this is insane. All right? So then once you have found all the necessary clues, you're going to mark it off, and you have completed or closed your dark seal. Now, this is going to get more and more difficult because your health is going to go down. How does that do that? Well, pretty much you do your 2 actions here. Now, that's right here. You perform your actions. And now you activate cultist dice and perform the actions. So again, like I said, you are going to have 2 die here. So first number is going to tell you which section of this you're going to go to. It's going to be a D12. So 2 and 5, you go here, 6, 7, 8, 3 and 9, 11. So let's go through these real quick. All of these are going to be doing something different. For example, right here, the Necronomicon unleashes the dark power of the cultist and their sinister magic. Then you add crosses equal to the value of the die. So if this was a 2 or a 5, we would put 6 crosses through here. All right? So every single one of these has something different. This one, it's going to then matter through here what number you have. Different things happen. Let's go for a moment into the cultist and the vile Migos. Right now, you're going to start off with one of these Migos that are summoned, and you have to kill them. Over here, it could mean that you can actually damage or hurt these Migos. And to do that, all you're going to do is mark them off. And there we go. And if you've done that, you have killed one, and then you get that bonus of 2 stars, which will then cascade to go over here. You see how this kind of cascades? And over here, you've got different cultists. And these cultists are going to show up through here, and they go more and more. And as it advances this track, you're going to notice these numbers here. And you're also going to notice the numbers over here as well. So as you complete this, so you go here, you're going to place these over here in the actions of the cultist. 11, and say you have another one, 8, and whatever. So these numbers go here. Now why? Why don't you just complete those? Well, the whole thing is these are limited. So you can't just all of a sudden get cascaded with actions. For example, this 11 would then go over here and activate this. And this matters what your ritual level is at, because you're here and it's going to be a 2. These over here, ritual level, this one is a die roll, and this one depends on the die as well. So say you got an 11, it can go over here, you could be down here, you can mark that off, and that could be the 8 here. So this can cascade, but it will never go past your player count. So if you got those are all the actions that the cultist can take. That's so you don't really lose really quickly. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's the scenario here. I'm not going to go into each of these because those do change depending on the scenario you're on, but that's just going to activate different ones here, and the ritual progress is going to continue, and as you cross this bar here, it's going to go up quicker. This goes up 2 for 2 players, here it goes up 3, here it goes up 4, and here it goes up 5. So it's going to really scale. And notice, as this happens, there are going to be different actions to be placed up here and to be able to go through. That way they get more and more actions, and it kind of builds as you go. So that is pretty much it. You are going to try to close, everyone's going to try to close their seal by going through these clues before the cultists get to go all the way down the ritual track just like that to win. And that is it. It is a co-op game, and pretty much that is a quick overview about how the game is played. Let's send it back and see what we thought about it. Okay, so that's pretty much how it's played. Again, I didn't go into all the different details of this. I just kind of tried to give you guys a quick overview. All right, so again, before we get into all that, the rules and all this, let's talk about the co-op of this. The fact that I was very hesitant seeing a co-op roll and write of this kind of depth, but really it worked. It worked. There's something about having that co-op that you are doing that cascading, and instead when you look over and you see someone just really going through those cascades, you're not all of a sudden like, oh man, shoot, they're getting a lot of points. You're now realizing, okay, this is good for me. You know, the more they cascade, the closer we are to closing that seal. And on top of that, there are certain things you can do to help heal them, and you're both going against those cultists in the middle, and you both have that center board that you're going to go through, and you really work together. I think it really works with this. The co-op actually works. I really enjoy it, to the fact that it even almost, it starts to move so much that it feels a bit too short. I know it's 60 to 90 minutes, but once you get into it, you know, first off, you could die pretty quickly, but it does feel like it has a good cadence to it. Because you're starting to move, you're starting to get this, you're like, okay, all right, roll, boom, 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 boom. And then in fact, that little sheet, that little, with what to do in what order at the top, I love that. You know, you just simply go down and you get it done like this. One of the things I'll mention is the fact that it's always, the way they do taper this down to the player count is very interesting, because you can't get just overwhelmed when the scenario cascades too much. And you will just all of a sudden, oh man, 10 moves, we're dead. Well, it does kind of limit that at the top. I don't know if I went through this in the overview, but at the top, when you activate, I think I did, through their actions, the cultist actions, you are limited in how many you can do. That I think is really important, because that adds, that kind of makes it to where it doesn't spiral out of control. Now the scenarios on this are pretty important. But the whole thing is, I like the fact that scenarios add kind of that element of, well, variability with it. But as anything is, not all the scenarios are going to be your favorites. Like, I like the first one. I think it's great. The second one was my least favorite. I think it got a bit frustrating at times. I wasn't really crazy about that, but I like the first one. So you're going to like them differently, which is the way you should, because if you like them all the same, that means they're too similar. But these are very different, and you can play them on different difficulties as well for when you want to close the seal and all that stuff. So that's really fun. Now, like I said, the cadence of this, it starts to move, a lot of things start to roll, and it has that cascading, which is something that I love about roll and writes, that power of boom, 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 boom. But there gets to a point to where sometimes with Roll for Great Old Ones, it can be almost a bit too much. Because there are times when you have a couple actions and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. That'll give me a skill. Go over here, I get 3 actions. I'm like, oh, shoot, now I have 4. If I go here, I'll get this action. And it's like all of a sudden you have to kind of mentally bookkeep how many actions you have going, because there's a lot going on in that. So you can cascade a lot, and you have to keep going back and forth and back and forth. So on top of that, the dice rolls. The dice rolls. They can be punishing, right? So as you grab those die, put them on there, but you can mitigate that by re-rolling. And I like the re-rolling kind of mechanic, because you can re-roll, but it might hurt. You know, is it worth it? You have to balance out, is that worth it to re-roll it and to be able to have to lose this? So that itself, I really enjoy, but it can be frustrating. Now, another thing is the artwork. The artwork is going to be very divisive on this. Some people hate it. Some people love it. For me, I'm fine. It's not my favorite artwork, but it's fine. I think the art style is very different. Some people will see it, and I've actually seen it happen. They're like, oh. Then other people are like, I love this. So I think it's fine. I think the artwork is good. But now, since we're doing that, let's go to the entire layout design. The layout design of this, the words can be too small. I can tend to read the words pretty well, but I do have to squint a bit. I do wear contacts, so that kind of helps. But I know some people have trouble seeing these words because the print is very small. Now, even if you get past that, the boxes are small. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're using a dry erase marker like this, dry erase markers are not as fine as a pencil. So going on there, it's difficult to get those little marks in those little boxes. And then once you do that, they're so small, then later it could actually kind of rub off or whatever. And you're like, I don't know, was that mark there or was it over here? Did I intentionally rub that off? So the fact that you have to get so small with that marker, that became a bit of a problem, right? This, I think this might actually, I'd enjoy this more out of an actual roll and write if I had an actual pencil, because a pencil has a finer point and you can easily kind of mark those off. I understand why the dry erase is there because of the erasing and back and forth and you have to somehow heal and all this, but I think having that finer point. So the included markers, which are right here, these pretty much don't really work for this because it's just too thick and those boxes are too small. But taking all that into account, this game I really, really enjoyed because it's a co-op. It's a co-op roll and write. And again, it's simpler than it looks. The rulebook is not, it's kind of confusing the way it kind of jumps around. Look at the rulebook, you might think it's a more complicated game than it is because it just makes sense. You know, you create your die pool, you draft your die, you put it on there, the other ones go with their scenario, and then you look and then you put them on your board. That's it. That's it. And everywhere you go, the sections are pretty much, they're mostly self-explanatory. If not, the iconography is explained here. There's a lot of icons on there, but you do get used to it. So take all that into account. Do I like this as much as Hadrian's Wall? No. But I don't need to because this is different. This is a co-op roll and write. So I'm actually coming in at a 7.5 for this because I think this does something very unique. I like the decisions. I think it's one that I want to dive into more because especially if you like cascading, this has cascading in droves. This is a lot of cascading, which makes you honestly feel good. So anyway, this is Roll for Great Old Ones, a roll and write game. All right, try it out. I'm Joey Evans. This is the Dice Tower.